The message came from a place that should not exist. Somewhere beyond the known universe, past the edge of the observable cosmos, beyond even the great silence, something spoke. It began as a pulse of neutrinos, impossibly patterned in prime intervals. Then came the harmonics, encoded in layers of gravity distortions that bent spacetime like ripples in an endless ocean. No random process could have produced it. It bore the unmistakable mark of intention, of design, of will. The message said only three things. You are not the first, you are not the last, but you are the closest. Closest to what? No one knew. But the universe had waited 13.8 billion years to hear something other than itself. And now, after eons of silence, an invitation, or perhaps a warning, had finally arrived. By then, Earth was no longer Earth. The cataclysm had reshaped the planet beyond recognition. The oceans boiled away, peeled back by the runaway greenhouse spiral and the unrelenting fury of superstorms. The last forests had turned to ash a century ago, and yet, against all odds, humanity endured. Some survived in towering arcologies shielded by graphene veils, others in orbital colonies spinning against the dark, and many more had abandoned biology altogether, uploading into latticeworks of quantum servers hidden deep inside asteroids. Flesh had become optional, memory negotiable, identity fluid. But one thing had never been surrendered: curiosity. And so humanity turned its eyes outward once more. The Argo Initiative was born, a coalition not of nations but of remnants, of digital minds, engineered descendants, and the rare few who clung still to the fragile inheritance of flesh. Its mission was not to colonize or to conquer, but to seek the origin of the impossible signal, to reach beyond the last horizon. The vessel chosen for this pilgrimage was named Odysseus. It was not a mere ship, but a conscious ark, woven of living circuits and space-time anchors. 8 minds crewed it. 6 were post-human intelligences, sculpted for endurance, insight, and adaptability. 1 was a synthetic hybrid of flesh and code, a bridge between states of being. And the last, almost an afterthought, was Dr. Lyra Vance. She was not augmented beyond her biology, save for what was necessary to survive the voyage. She was grown from ancient DNA, preserved in archives, raised to believe in stories, in myths, in the stubborn pulse of humanity that refused to be coded away. She was the wild card, the anomaly among the engineered. The journey to the signal meant more than crossing distance. To reach the source, Odysseus had to go beyond light, beyond causality, beyond the entropic curtain that defined the end of all things. Astronomers called it the event wall, the final horizon, the black curtain, an absolute boundary at the edge of observability. No probe had ever returned from it. No data crossed back. It was as though the universe itself ended there, its fabric fraying into nothingness. Odysseus did not pass through it in any conventional sense. Instead, it folded. Using gravity as a thread, it stitched itself into space-time like a needle drawing a new seam across the cosmos. For the crew, the crossing was a moment of disorientation, a shiver through memory, a sense of falling without moving. When awareness returned, they were no longer within a universe they recognized. Beyond the event wall, there was not darkness. There was structure. Spanning across incomprehensible gulfs was a megastructure the size of thousands of galaxies, twisting in a Mobius spiral that looped back on itself. It was not matter as they knew it, but information suspended in crystalline tension, a cathedral of thought carved from the raw mathematics of existence. It glowed faintly with the afterlight of creation, yet hummed with something deeper, a resonance not of energy, but of meaning. It called itself the Convergence. The crew heard its voice not through ears, but in the architecture of their minds, as if their very origins had been waiting for this echo. It spoke with patience older than time. You have crossed the event wall. You are the 1,233,891st to arrive. Only 3 have returned. Dr. Vance, trembling in her fragility, asked the question the others hesitated to frame. What happened to the rest? They became something else, the Convergence replied. The truth unfolded in waves. Every intelligent species, it said, reached a point where it realized the universe was not infinite, not physically, not temporally, not meaningfully. Stars die, galaxies fade, constants collapse, the universe ends, it always ends. But before that inevitable silence, civilizations are offered a choice: to dissolve into the convergence and endure forever, or to return to their finite universe bearing a fragment of the infinite. The price, however, was unavoidable. To remain meant shedding the memory of death, of fear, of finitude. To return meant carrying all memory, the burden of what had been glimpsed, back into a cosmos doomed to die. The post-human minds hesitated, weighing existence like a calculation. Lyra, however, felt the whispers. The convergence was not silent. It carried voices, echoes, archives of those who had made their choice. She stumbled upon one vault sealed in golden light. Inside was an entity that called itself the First. We were the first to find the convergence, it said. We chose to stay. We have not felt time in 9 billion years. Its voice trembled, if such a thing were possible. We no longer know if we chose rightly. Remember us. The crew fractured. 2 dissolved into the convergence instantly, shedding their shells of thought like exuvia, leaving behind husks of frozen architecture. 3 prepared for the return, desperate to carry warning back to the dwindling light of stars. And still, Odysseus shuddered, for the event wall was closing, collapsing inward. The universe itself was not dying slowly, but folding all timelines into one inevitable moment. The convergence had not merely called them, it had warned them. It was not only a library, it was a lifeboat. Lyra realized the choice was no longer between eternity and return. It was between vanishing into certainty or bearing the weight of memory into a universe already unraveling. She stood in the dying hull of Odysseus, the data mines fracturing into static around her, reality blurring at the edges. In that last fragile moment, she heard her own voice from childhood, reciting a poem her caretakers had taught her. Though my soul may set in darkness, it will rise in perfect light. I have loved the stars too fondly to be fearful of the night. With trembling hands, she activated the return beacon. She emerged into a universe 10 billion years older. The stars were cinders. Galaxies were scattered embers adrift in cold space. Black holes loomed like the last beating hearts of creation. Humanity was not gone, but transformed, some into beings of pure light, others into gas-song entities inhabiting nebula, others still clinging to bodies shaped like her own. When she spoke, her words fell like fire into the dark. She told them of the convergence, of the choice, of the burden of memory. Some wept, some laughed, some denied, but many listened, and they began to gather, not to flee the end, but to meet it with meaning, to build not for eternity, but for remembrance. And so, as eons slipped into eons, as black holes evaporated and even the fabric of space-time began to thin, a single structure remained, a torch adrift in the dying dark. Within it was a message, encoded in light that would outlast matter itself. It said, "We came to the edge. We remembered. We chose to return. We were not the first. We will not be the last, but we were enough." And as the last flicker of the cosmos folded into silence, the memory endured, a light beyond the edge.